Welcome to the Martin Bailey Photography Podcast. It's July 14, 2014, and this is episode 430. Today I'm going to walk you through Adobe Lightroom Mobile. I'm finding this to be a really useful application and a great addition to the Adobe suite, so I'm going to take you through and show you how to start using this. So in Lightroom, basically you're going to create collections of your images. You can't sync at the moment, you can't sync folders, but you put your images that you want to sync to your iPad or iPhone into a collection. If you mouse over the top left, the ID plate here, you'll see a little triangle. Mine's slightly obscured by my logo, but if you click over here, you'll see the option to sync with Lightroom Mobile, and you just have to sign in with your Adobe ID. And once you've done that, you can then go down. You'll see next to some of these collections I have here, I've already got sync turned on. When you see this little two-way arrow thing, that means that sync is turned on for these portfolio collections. And what I'm going to do is to show you, I'm going to turn on, right click and turn on sync with Lightroom Mobile, and that will then start this automatically syncing with the Lightroom app. And on the iPad we can watch that come into play. So here we go. So right now there's just 3 images that have come in so far. If you tap on that, you'll see that it's starting to bring these images in, but it'll take a moment. It's got to do its magic, but it won't take very long. One tip is all of these others you can see here. I've already got the images downloaded for offline editing, and to do that, click this little 3 ellipses thing in the bottom corner and turn on offline editing. And you can see that in the time we did that, it's actually completed this sync of the 16 photos, and it's now starting to download them for offline editing. So if we now go into this folder, we can see the photos there. Just going to minimize Lightroom and a few other things so that we can see this properly. So to view the photos that you've synced, you literally just tap them, and then if you want to view them full size, one finger tap again will make them fill the screen. And of course you can browse through the images very easily as well. Tap again to take that down to just the full size with other information. If you want to, I'm going to go through to a color image so that we can actually see the histogram a little bit better here. But if you 2-finger tap on the screen, you'll see that it's showed me the shooting information there now, and also in the right side it's given us a histogram, and that will stay there and give you, update that information as you scroll through your images. But if you do a double finger tap again, you can see that it toggles to just shooting information, histogram, and then nothing, so you don't have to have that on. And down the bottom here we've got a few options for example, you can see that we have thumbnails that we can look at, and there's also some adjustments that you can make. You'll see that for this example I've already got +45 EV. I've actually changed the exposure of this image in Lightroom, and you can continue to work those changes here if you want to. So you can increase the exposure, decrease the exposure. A double tap will take it back to 0, and if I wanted to just go through and go back to my 0.45, then I just use the redo and undo buttons in the bottom right corner there. Another great thing with this is if you double tap on the image, you can actually, and on the scale here, you can actually see as you start to overexpose, and that is really useful to me. And the other things, obviously there's a whole lot of stuff you can do, and you're really just you can see I've added +25 clarity, for example. All of these settings are synced with Lightroom, and they're the same settings. Now, how much I'll use these features, I'm not really sure. I'm more a desktop person or a laptop. I like to look at things on the machine, but as you can see, it's pretty damn good. You know, you can do a lot of stuff in here, and with the ability to make these changes, you know, I might change a few things and how I work, but I know that a lot of people, for example, travel with only an iPad. If that's the way you work, you'll find this really, really useful. You can also do things. There are some creative features. You can, for example, you can do sepia versions. You can do cross-processing, and there's all sorts. I mean, I'm not going to be messing with this, but it's one thing that you can consider. Now, I'm going to just undo that first before we go on. And there's a lot of other stuff. You know, you can change the detail, you can change the effects, you can do black and whites, and you can also crop. So if you see here, maybe for example you want to do a square crop of this instead of the one that I had, you can do that. And then you can also, if you tap with 2 fingers on the screen here, you can actually get different grid layouts as well. And if you double tap, it just resets that. I like the way they've also got, going to just untap here, maybe go to a different folder, and let's take a look, for example, at some Iceland photos. So let's go down, take a look. Maybe for example we have this horse shot from Iceland. Again, we might decide that we need this a little bit longer, and maybe that makes it a better photograph. And then when we're done, if we come out of that, we can actually go back and see later that it will update the crop in Lightroom. Before we do that, I'm actually going to show you another thing. Down in the bottom corner here, we have this little star button. It shows you at the moment that I've got 5 stars assigned to this. If you just tap on the screen and swipe up and down, you can change the star rating very easily. And if you tap on this itself, you can actually change the pick, reject, and unflag. So I'm going to turn this to a pick so that we can see that updated in Lightroom. And to do that, let's go back into Lightroom and go to the Iceland portfolio. And as we go down, take a look here, you'll see that as we looked, it's updated the crop and it's updated the pick. So I've now got this marked as pick. I'm going to undo that, and I'm actually going to go in Lightroom, hit the crop, and put that back because I don't actually want that. But you know, that gives you an idea of the sort of things that you can do. Let's go back to the iPad. Okay, and it's just updated my original here in Lightroom as well. Okay, so for example, if you are making changes to an image, another thing that you can do is, say for example, you try the auto tone, and if you want to figure out whether you like it or not, just 3-finger tap it, and as you hit the screen with 3 fingers, it shows you the before and after view. So that's another good way to see what your changes are looking like. There are a number of ways to do slideshows. Let me show you in here. For example, you'll see this on the left here, of the bottom left of each of the icons, the album covers, you can see that there's a play button, so you can start a slideshow right from there. And you can also, of course, just go through each of the images by swiping the screen. And because it's so easy to navigate, you know, you could, for example, there's another way of starting a slideshow. Tap and hold on a photograph. You can start a slideshow right from that point as well. Another thing that you can do, for example, if you don't like the photograph that you've got as the album cover, you can say, do a long tap on one of those, set as cover, and it will automatically show you the album with the new cover that you've just switched it to. And the other great thing about this is that it works with the iPhone in exactly the same way. So I'm just going to connect my iPhone up, and here we go. So move this out of the way for now. So on the iPhone, you can see, if we scroll down, you'll see that it's already updated the ship cover, the photo for the cover. And again, you can go in and look at the images. The masonry view that we've got here works really well. And of course, it works in portrait mode as well as landscape mode. And you know, pretty much all of the stuff that you can do, you know, going full screen, it's all there. It's all going to work exactly the same. And you know, this is great, because one of the things that I absolutely hate about the iOS photo albums, is that it automatically expands images to fill the screen. And Adobe knew better. They knew that the best way to do it would actually be to show you all of the image rather than filling the screen with it. And so this is just a great way of working, a great way to show your images to people. I mean, I'm going to be using this on the iPad, or the iPhone's always with you, right? So I'm going to be using this for showing people photos, potentially showing clients and potential clients photographs. But also there's just so much more. I mean, even just for showing friends and family your work. A lot of the time people say, "Oh, have you got any photos with you?" Yeah, you grab the iPhone and away you go. But another great thing, one last thing that I wanted to look at is, I'm just going to tap on the top here, come back out of the album. There's actually a way now you can actually do auto import. And if you're one of those people that really, I mean, like me, I rarely actually go through and import my photos into Lightroom. So on my phone, what you can do is you can enable auto import, and then all you have to do, I'm going to come out of here, I'm going to go back to my top screen, because then I can just flick it up, get my camera, and oops, that's not going to work. Let's just take a photograph of me doing this, and then as we go back into Lightroom, we'll see that it's going to actually auto import those photographs, that photograph for me. There we go. So there's the photograph, and that will now be, if we go back to Lightroom, we can actually go down back into the library, and there's one photo in Lightroom for us to start to play with. So that's really useful as well. It just automates. I know there's a lot of ways of getting photos from your phone to the to your desktop, but this is probably one of the easiest. So I'm probably just going to turn that on, leave it on, and then whenever I come back to my computer, all of my photos are going to be here. So that was pretty simple. I'm sure you can see the power of this new software. I'm just going to go back. Obviously, one last thing, not just the iPhone, but the iPad. The iPad also works beautifully in portrait mode. So you can really just use this as a great presentation tool for showing your images to clients. There are a few things that I really would like to see added. So the first thing is the ability to sync video. I'm thinking that this is going to be a really good presentation device, software for the devices that we own. I would love to be able to sync video. If I could go in and sync, create a collection, fill it with videos that I want to show people, I've got some short movies that I like to show. I've got video slideshows of my portfolios. There's a lot of things that I would love to be able to do with that. And you can create collections and add videos, but they don't sync. So that's one thing that I would love to see. And the other thing that I would really like to see is the ability to just throw up a splash screen. I mean, the album view is nice, but I would love to be able to throw up a splash screen and just sort of, make it a real marketing opportunity rather than just a tool. Okay, so you know where to find me. We'll wrap it up here. If you go to martinbaileyphotography.com, you can see everything I'm into. The podcast is available every week on this under podcast, blog and podcast, and you can check out my tours and workshops, portfolios at martinbaileyphotography.com. So I hope to see you here soon, and you have a great week, whatever you're doing. Thanks very much. Bye bye.